as if you were teaching it to a child or someone with no prior knowledge. This helps identify gaps in your understanding, and it promotes simplification. It also strengthens long-term memory. Teaching forces you to organize your thoughts and identify what you don't fully understand.
And I will give you an example of association I use. So I put things I want to remember inside my long-term memory. I used to create picture in my mind so I can remember things, and that's a great way to learn you a lot of different things and remember. I just think about the first Thai lady I fell in love with was named Mai. And in the Thai language, if you want to say you love someone, that's rak. But a lot of Thai people have problem to say R, so they say lak. And then I just think of this beautiful lady that stole my heart back in the days. She named Mai, and I just think she say lak. Then you have my luck. And I see this picture inside my head. Welcome. Today's episode is about the best way to learn and retain new information. What if you could learn anything faster, smarter, and never forget the things that matter most? Whether you're chasing a new career, mastering a skills, or just hungry to grow, how you learn can change everything. In this episode, we'll unlock the most powerful ways to learn and actually retain the information, so you can level up your mind and unlock your full potential. Your next breakthrough starts now. And here is Elon Musk's memory tricks. Elon said that in order to remember something, you must assign meaning to it. If you say why something is relevant, you probably will remember it. Elon says that your brain tries to forget as much as possible because it's hard to store memories. Because most of the stuff you see is not worth remembering. In order to remember something, you have to establish relevance. You have to say why. So your brain remember what's different. Different can mean there is a strong emotional connection, or it is something absurd, or it is something unusual. And if it is something that is not unusual, why should the brain bother to remember it?
Exactly. And memory castle technique is a technique that I heard Jordan Peterson used a lot. It is a technique that people have used for centuries to remember things. And let me walk through it, because you can sit and imagine a place you know, for example, a house. And then you place things inside this house that you want to remember. So as you walk in through the hallway, there is this first chapter of the book you need to remember for a test, for example. And then you go through, and there's the living room. And that's when you connect another image to it. Because when something is visual, it is a lot easier to remember it. And then by using this house, for example, or this path or park or whatever you want to, you create the story in a way. You line up the things that you need to remember. But it is a lot easier to remember it because there's images as well as some personal feelings connected to it, because you choose the home, for example.
Active recall is a great way to retain memory. You put it on the long-term memory. Flashcard, quizzes, and practice tests are great exercise for your long-term memory. By testing yourself, you can identify areas where you need to focus more of your attention and reinforce your understanding. If you read passively, you won't learn so much. Actively recalling the stuff you have learned will help you to remember. So use active recall. Test yourself instead of just reading notes. For example, after you have learned a concept, close your book and try to explain it out loud. This works because it strengthens memory by retrieving info from your brain instead of passively reviewing it. And I have just started to play flashcard together with my daughter. And it is very funny. We sit down in a table, put out some cards and play together. Spend good time together. And this is good for train up my memory. And do you know who win every single time? My daughter. She beat me every single time. I haven't taken her one time yet, but I will try to work my best, and I gotta take she one day. She good, yeah? And when I listen to podcast, I used to stop and say things out loud, because then I will remember things better. I also stop and I think through things I want to remember, instead of just rushing through it. This helped me to remember and retain the information better.
That is extremely important, because when it's too much information or too many sessions, you forget the points that you just learned. So you have to press pause and just kind of absorb it, reflect upon it, let it stick before you rush on to the next. And this is extremely important while studying as well. You have to spread out the sessions instead of just stacking them all up and doing it at once, because the information will not stick. Your brain cannot take in so much at a time. And there is a platform that's called Anki. It is free, and it is an open source flashcard program that uses spaced repetition and learning technique to aid in memorization and retention of information. You can use that to kind of help you remember things, as well as these flashcards, as my brother talked about. It is a great way to revisit the material at optimal intervals, so you choose. And the thing is that these kind of techniques, they will significantly improve the long-term retention. And I have studied a lot in my life, I've gone 13 years of like primary school, high school, all of this, then a bachelor's degree, then 2 specialities. So there's been a lot of studying throughout the years. And there's so many times that I have just memorized an entire manuscript, or memorized a paper that I've written for a test with a lot of information. And I don't recall almost anything of it today, because only memorizing it will just make it stick for maybe a day until I have written it all down in the test, and then I completely throw it out in the bin up in the brain. So if you want to truly learn something, only memorizing it is not the way. And this we will dig deeper into while describing the Feynman technique. It is a learning and teaching method where you explain a concept in simple terms, as if you were teaching it to a child or someone with no prior knowledge. This helps identify gaps in your understanding, and it promotes simplification. It also strengthens long-term memory. So when you teach yourself something new, try to explain it out loud to yourself. Then you will see how good you really understand it. And again, if you only memorize things, you don't understand it. If you get a question that's not written, you have no way of answering that question. So you have to learn it. You have to understand it. And then it is easy to answer questions. It is easy to explain it. Even if it is to a child that doesn't understand so much, it is easy. If you truly understand something, you will never really struggle to explain it.
That's right, and that's so great when you speak it out loud, as you just say. You speak it out loud, you explain it to yourself, and in a great way. You should explain it to a children too. And if you can explain it so easy that the children will understand it, then you really know what you talk about.
That is so true, and so many people say this, and that is true as well. When I started having some classes in martial arts, when I started coaching a bit, that's when I learned even more, because of course I had a lot of knowledge before that, and I don't really coach, but once in a while I can hold a session, even a private or for a class, and that's when I truly see, is there something I'm missing? This is something that I've sticked a lot with knowledge, So when you start coaching or teaching, you reveal the gaps and you learn in a whole other level. So that is definitely something we encourage you to do. Teaching is considered a highly effective method for learning. It is often cited as the best way to solidify understanding and retain knowledge. Teaching forces you to organize your thoughts and identify what you don't fully understand. Here is why teaching enhances learning. It deepens understanding. When you explain a concept to someone else, you're forced to break it down and analyze it in detail, which can reveal gaps in your own knowledge and understanding. Secondly, it improves retention. The act of teaching requires you to retrieve and apply the information you've learned, which reinforces memory and improves retention.
If this episode make you think, smile, or shift your mindset even a little, send it to someone who would love it too. Teaching helps you refine your communication skills as you learn how to articulate complex ideas in a clear and consistent way. By teaching, you're essentially putting your knowledge to a test, which can help identify areas where you need to future refine your understanding and make it meaningful and connect to what you know. For example, you can associate new information with things you already understand. Use analogies, example from your own life, or find a mind map to create connection. And I will give you an example of association I use. So I put things I want to remember inside my long-term memory. I used to create picture in my mind so I can remember things. And that's a great way to learn you a lot of different things and remember. And for example, it's a guy named Mike Milak. He's a very funny guy. He's the co-host on the Impulsive podcast. Mike Milak and Logan Paul had this podcast together. And I think Milak was a difficult name, and I would like to remember it. Mike is easy because I know a guy named Mike, and I just think about him. But to remember Milak, I just think about the first Thai lady I fell in love with was named Mai. And in the Thai language, if you want to say you love someone, that's rak. But a lot of Thai people have problem to say R, so they say lak. And then I just think of this beautiful lady that stole my heart back in the days. She named Mai, and I just think she say luck. Then you have my luck. And I see this picture inside my head. And to learn me this name, I just create this picture, and I have remembered it since. So it's a great, great way to remember. So I will recommend you to try that. Just create a picture of something.
And you are a master of this. You just came down to the south and visit me and my husband and his entire family. And you memorized all of the names in his family before coming.
I have to try to build up some respect, and impress them.
And you for sure did. And the thing is that they felt so valued because you had taken the time to learn all of their names before even getting to know them. Because you asked me a couple of times, what's the sister name? What's her husband and the children? And you learned techniques to remember everything. So you and your daughter memorized all the names before coming. And that is so honorable.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah, it's important. Yeah, I would like to know what they name, and because I'm really genuinely interested in those people, and it's important, to show that I'm interested and about the respect, and I want to know what they name and like this, So then I feel I already know them a little bit before I come, and then it's more easy to connect to, when I know the name already.
Definitely, and they feel very valued and important. So for sure, it is a really, really nice thing to do and a great way to do it.
Thank you. Me and my daughter, sit in the car, and I have to ask she what those children and this person name, and she have to ask me, and we make a little bit fun about it also, So it was fun for both of us.
Definitely.
And another tip can be a mix up the way you learn. Study or practice different topics or skills in the same session. It feels harder, but it improves flexibility and long-term understanding. And you can, for example, use multiple senses. combine reading, listening, watching, and doing. For example, you can watch a video, then you can take handwriting notes, then you can explain it out loud. And you do it in different ways. And I have taken a lot of notes of the important stuff I have come across all my adult life. Taking note has been a great way for me to learn. And I also used to stop the video or the podcast I'm listening or watching and say the things I'm gonna remember out loud. And I also stop the video and the podcast I am listening to and I think about what they say. Then I retain the stuff better. Because if I just rush through it, okay, this one podcast, next podcast, I'm not gonna remember it. But if I just stop it and think a little bit about it, or I say it out loud, then I am more active listeners, and then I will retain the information better.
Mm-hmm.
I not listen to listen, I listen to learn.
Mm-hmm. And that is a game changer. And that brings me to the next thing I wanted to say. You have to stay engaged. If you mix your curiosity with your emotion, that's when you store things in your memory. When you mix your curiosity with emotions, that's how you remember things. You retain what interests you. You have to think about it, not just hear it or watch it. You also have to reflect upon it and store it into your memory. Don't just rush past it. And ask questions while you're learning new things. Why does this matter to me? And how can I use this in real life? The more emotionally engaged you are, the stronger the memory will be. And then I will tell you something extremely important. I came across many years ago while fighting and training a lot of martial arts. My coach, Thomas Formo, which came to our podcast on an interview, told me this. Sleep solidifies new memories. Avoid staying up all night and reading and studying. You have to rest and sleep, because then your brain will do the work while you're asleep. And he told me this because I trained so many hours. It was so many hours on the mats. And he told me that you have to go home, rest, think about it, visualize, go to sleep. And when you wake up in the morning, your brain has kind of connected the dots and you will understand this technique better in the morning. And this is true, and it is a superpower.
Absolutely. And now I will tell you about rapid sleep exploration. And that's something me and Andrew Huberman did find out together. No, I'm joking. This is from Andrew Huberman. He's great. And him talk about the gap effect when you're learning. Him talk about when you learn, take break and stop what you are doing and not do nothing for a little while. When we sleep, there is a rapid replay of the sequence of the events we have had through the day on a much higher speed. You get 10 to 60 times of the replay of the repetition you do through the day. And through those 10 seconds gaps that are introduced while you are learning, you get 10 to 20 times repeated of the sequence you are trying to learn. You get more repetition while you are doing less. This is why REM sleep is so important, because it goes through what you learn through the day and again and again and again and again, and then you will learn it better.
It is very fascinating. Great value in what you teach us here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, move your body. Light exercise, like even just going for a walk, improves cognitive function and memory. Even a 10-minute walk before studying can boost focus and retention. You have to stay consistent and you have to stay curious. Learning is a habit, not a one-time event. The best learners, they stay humble, curious, and hungry for growth. Learn actively and space it out. Explain it, connect it, move your body, get sleep, and repeat.
This episode was recorded on the 20th of June 2025. In the show note, you will find the link to our homepage, the 101%podcast.com, where you can subscribe to our free weekly newsletter, donate to our podcast. And our donation system is very easy and so time efficient to use. You should absolutely try it. It will be a great experience for you, and it will mean a lot for us. And all the information about subscription you need. If you can share this episode with someone you care about, it has been great. We share for you. Keep learning and retain the important stuff and give it your best. If you like this episode, please share it with a friend. It is important for us to get out our message so we can help as many people as possible. And we will highly appreciate it if you could take 1 minute of your time to follow us on social media and review the show on Apple Podcast and Spotify. All links are below. Our Instagram is the 101% podcast. Until next time, take care and go 101% into achieving your goals. You owe it to yourself.